Welcome inside the kennel, the heartbeat of the dog game, where real breeders break down real experiences, and the experts drop the knowledge you can't Google. We're talking structure, bloodlines, nutrition, training, wins, losses, and everything that makes champions in and out of the ring. This is for the ones who live it, breathe it, and build it, one lit at a time. Your host, Kevin, Ben, and Roderick. Lock in.
Hello, here we are again. It's Kevin, and we got Benny here. T-Rod will be calling in here in a little bit. He's whelping a litter of new flare babies.
Hopefully he does this time.
Yeah, hopefully he calls in before we finish. But so it's just us today, and I figure we'll do a little talking contracts. Everybody likes contracts till they don't benefit them. So we were in the process of revamping our contracts last night with the new DNA and stuff we got in, what we're guaranteeing, what we're not guaranteeing, and all of that.
Some of them clauses y'all talking about is pretty interesting. Like, I guess I never gave it much thought. And I've actually last year experienced that with where I had litters that it only had one, or I didn't get a husky out of a breeding, and I never even considered that should be rebreed worthy. Right,
so it's hard. It's great customer service to guarantee. So like we have 24 karat koi now. Our partners Kim and Brandon have koi grams, and they got a panda husky. They've got all this stuff and big ropes and all of that. So people breed to that dog specifically to get whatever that is. So, we do a 3 puppy guarantee, and, we guarantee at least on the husky kois, at least a husky or a koi in the litter, or you get a rebreed. But we've decided with the price of the kois and our structure and all that, even if you get 2 puppies, but one of them is a husky or a koi, you're done. Because I feel like you got what you set out to get out of that breeding. And like Kim and Brandon was saying, they've had where somebody had 2 puppies and they were both kois. Well, they sold them for $30,000 a piece, and now they want to rebreed. That's just not really fair to the stud owner. I mean, I get it, but there used to be a time when there was only a 2 puppy guarantee.
It still is for some people.
And I almost lean towards with this new DNA, if I'm going to guarantee you DNA on a dog, then I should only have to guarantee you 2 puppies. I shouldn't have to give you the 3, because you're just putting too much in the stud owners. Because what if the female never has more than 2 puppies? I mean, even if you do a rebreed and you get 2 more puppies, it's over. You don't get another rebreed, because now that's 4 puppies out of the litter, and you're done. Even if you get 1 puppy, you're done. I mean, you get a rebreed. There's not endless rebreeds to that. But it's a kind of a case-by-case situation, I guess,
Well, a lot of people only offer 1 rebreed period anyways. It don't matter the success, right? So that's kind of a raw deal if you don't get it off then.
And that's the other thing we done is I am putting a time limit on rebreeds. Something I learned with Flair, because I've got a pile of rebreeds and so much more DNA has come out. So people are trying to run their females to that and put Flair on the back burner. So now they've bred the female that was intended for Flair to some other dog and want me to wait for that rebreed. Well, now you're going to have a year from the time your dog is confirmed not pregnant or whatever to use that rebreed, because I can't just sit here and wait 2 or 3 years for somebody to add a bunch of DNA and then think they're going to come back and use a rebreed on a dog, because Flair's kind of an anomaly. Most people move on from a stud and don't even own that stud anymore in that time frame. So lucky for my customers, that's never going to happen with Flair, but he is getting shut down at the end of this year. So But I gave everybody a year, a little over a year, from when I announced that he was getting shut down. He was supposed to shut down at the end of September, and now I'm shutting him down Frenchie Bowl in November. So they've all had time to get the rebreeds. They'll all have time to have a female come into heat. And I don't really care what female it is.
I think we kind of jump forward in the conversation here. I guess the first thing would be to discuss the importance and why you need a contract, period.
Right.
Like what does it benefit? Because we were just having this conversation as far as the dollar figure, although it's a lot of money, it's not so much money. By the time you went to court, if you lost, if you had a $3,000 stud fee, by the time you went to court and lost, a lawyer's going to be $2,500 retainer fee around here. And if you're in California, I don't know what that'd be, but I guarantee it ain't $2,500.
And that's, I guess the contracts are good for the simple fact that it used to be these studs were a lot of money,
Yes.
$20,000 for a stud fee. That constituted it. But the contract now is more for the guarantees in it, how many puppies, the rebreeds, and as much as it protects the person buying the stud fee, it also protects the stud owner from having to do stuff that you normally wouldn't do, So it lays the rules out. It is just basically a rule sheet of this is what you're paying for. This is what we're willing to do. This is what you're guaranteed. And this is what you're not guaranteed. And this is what you're not going to get out of us. So that's on the stud side of it. Now, puppy side of it, that's a whole another ball game because they still sell for big money. So, but it's kind of straightforward.
There's a lot more, although with a stud, there's a lot can go wrong. It's really kind of when you break it down, it's a simple process.
Right.
You do your testing. And then you let it rip when it's time, and then it's out of your hands.
And that's the other thing. If you use an individual for progesterone testing, and you miss in the contract for us for your rebreed, you need to go. The final test needs to be from a vet. So we know that those numbers are accurate, and we ship it out. If the semen shows up bad, then that's on us and we have to do something different. But it also...
Well, that's also at a vet. That'll be a legit answer that they can give you an actual... They're not looking at it, a drop of it, and then guessing at mobility.
Right.
Like they know.
Right.
They've been trained. Yeah.
Yeah, so the second time needs to be done through a vet, and that makes it... That way, again, we're not arguing over, I should get another rebreed because she didn't take again. Now, don't get me wrong. I have let people have unlimited rebreeds. I've said it before. I let a lady in Utah do it 9 times. And, but she was a good customer. And that's what people need to understand. If you treat the stud owner, the breeder that's selling the puppy with respect and all of that, they tend to be more willing to work with you and make sure everything is right. But if you're a dick from the get-go, which leads to one of our newest clause in our contract is the social media clause. If you think the first thing to do, or at any point think to do, is to go on social media and bash us, contract is null and void. It's done. It's over with. And we're not continuing on from any point of that because we're all grown-ups. We made this deal not on Facebook. It might have been on Facebook Messenger, but it wasn't in public when we decided to.
So you got a social media gag order clause. That's what you got.
Yeah, because sooner or later we've got to stop all the bashing on social media between people because people get in. I get it. Somebody misses their breeding and they're upset or whatever. They get in the stud owner's inbox and the stud owner tells them, okay, you can have your rebreed. You got X amount of time, but you got to go to the vet. Now they're mad because they have to go to a vet and pay the more. So their first instinct is, well, let me go to social media and blast this person to make him do what I want. I'm going to tell everybody right now, I am not that motherfucker. Do not go to social media and blast me because as soon as you do, block and I don't give a shit. Take me to court.
I don't think that a lot of people that are legit like that's if you do that you usually lose all that ground.
Right,
Like,
you
people
know.
they're just through messing with you when you go to that extreme
And
off.
and 9 times out of 10, the people that go on social media blasting somebody end up looking stupid because the other person has receipts and messages and shit, and they post them up and they're like, "Hey, this is really what was said. This is what I done. This is what I offered, and you didn't take it." You know, it's
As far as a contract with pups, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if you could cover that contract would be so thick if you were to try to cover all the avenues somebody could screw you. I bought a dog one time from a guy in Houston, and he brung me the dog, gave me the paperwork. Well, he showed up to the meet without the paperwork, which was not our agreement.
right.
And so I should have just walked away.
Yeah.
That's what I should have done.
Yeah.
But I trusted him. I took a chance. I went in and paid him for the dog. He was supposed to send me the paperwork the next day. Man, it was, I don't know, 3-4 months. It was a long time. So I got the paperwork, and he told me the dog had been bred to a new shade stud.
Right.
And I did the DNA on the dog. She didn't even carry testable.
Right.
So I called him back. He's like, all the DNA companies screwed up. So I redone the DNA. Come back, she don't have testable.
Right.
She's like, oh, my girlfriend must have screwed the litters. I had 20 puppies at the same time.
Right.
And I was like, well, so I paid for a dog that had testable. And this dog don't have testable. I said, what are we going to do? And this man wanted me to buy another dog from him that had testable, that was testable.
Right.
And give him more money. I said, no, they that what's the thought? And there was no clause. I couldn't find anything in our agreement that would have helped me out there because, like, I mean, what do you do? And at the end of the day, it was a $3,500 dog.
Right.
By the time I took him to court, I could go buy another dog that had what I wanted for what I would have spent trying to get from him. And at that point, I don't want nothing else from him.
Right. Well, we were sold. We were at a show in Killeen one time, and one of the show hosts, and I can't even think of her damn name. Hold on, there's T-Rod. Let's get him on.
Well,
Hello.
There we go.
you
All
on the
right.
air,
Chopsticks
bud.
took a shit in the fucking kennel.
You're on the air.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it's all right. It happens
It's
to all of us.
It happens to all of us. How's
Yeah, bruh.
how's your litter going?
Man, it's going good, brother. They're in there resting right now. Everybody's chilling, getting pumped.
Team no sleep.
I'm pleased.
This is a nice group,
Yeah,
man.
so-
It's a nice group of dogs. I don't know if you've seen that picture or not.
Yeah, I did. They turned out nice. T-Rod had a litter with his girl Ling Ling, which has what's in her pedigree?
She's got low mane, Lord Sugar,
That's it.
Beefy, Golden Boy, Grizzly Bear Jr. She got a real full peg.
Right,
If
and-
I go down the whole list, we'll be here for a minute.
Right. So we and he bred her to Flair, so he's got some pretty nice looking pups over there. But just to fill you in, T-Rod, we've been talking about contracts and all of that because
Gotcha.
we're revamping our contract and we're kind of going over stud contracts, puppy contracts, and Benny was just talking about is it worth suing somebody over a small amount? It's not. But and I was in the middle of telling the story of we got sold a dog in Killeen. They announced it in the ring as an Isabella covered in cream. It was a big rope, short haired, but possibly carried Fluffy, which kind of drew a red flag to me because if you tested and you knew the dog was Isabella and all of that under there, why would you not know that it carried Fluffy, right? Other than you thought maybe the DNA company screwed up. Needless to say, the dog didn't really catch my attention per se, but my partners at the time, it caught their attention. And they were like, hey, and they wanted $5,000 for the dog. And they were like, you want to split it with us and we'll co-own it or whatever. Well, they'd been good partners to me, so I thought, hey, this is my time to show them that I'm with them, and we done it. Now, I'm in the middle of showing flair and all of that, so I tell my partner, I said, before you pay her, tell her to send you the copy of the DNA and stuff. Didn't think no more of it because I'm going to get that before I give money out. And I just assumed she had got the DNA because she sent the money over. Well,
Right.
that night I asked her, hey, where is the DNA to that dog? I want to look at it. Oh, she hadn't sent it yet. Well, why did we pay for it, right? So instantly I start hitting her up, that lady up, and Allison Cole, that's who it was. Literally, she would not answer us. And at 6:30 the next morning, she finally sent that DNA when she was back home, completely out of Colleen. And that dog was a blue and tan, didn't even carry testable.
Oh.
Now I'm hot, you know. And then she goes and says, I did not say that. Bad part is I had another customer that was there from Missouri, and he brought down a litter of flare puppies, and he was filming this show. He had a camera and all of that. Literally went back, and she had DJ Ashcheck announcing that dog in the middle of the ring as an Isabella covered in cream. And, oh, hold on. We're going to have to hold on one second
We'll
here.
pause it.
All right, we're back on. Sorry. Anyways, it was Allison Cole, and we have it on film of her announcing what that dog's DNA was in the middle of the ring. She knew damn good and well that dog me and her even had a conversation outside the building. She showed me the parents. One of them was an Isabella. No way this dog doesn't end up carrying at least testable, right? If this dog at least carries testable. But we spent $5,000 for it. I wanted to sell the dogs. My partner did not. They ended up buying us back out. So, but just to show you how shady people are, and they'll do that. I mean, that was very bold at a show where there's cameras everywhere to announce that you're selling an Isabella covered in cream, and that dog doesn't even carry testable, and you knew it because you had the DNA to the dog. So
That's kind of weird.
it happens all the time. But here's another thing in our contract that we added, and I've had it in mind for a long time. I am not responsible for third-party DNA errors.
You can't be. They make too much. They make too many mistakes.
You know, and that's the thing. So if I send a DNA in on a cream dog, I have no way of looking at that dog, or even if the dog is a carrier, I have no way of telling if the DNA companies are wrong. I mean, eventually you breed them, you do whatever, but it doesn't matter. You cannot hold somebody to, especially with health testing, and they're wrong too many times. Too many times the DNA companies are wrong for the breeder to be responsible for their mistakes.
Do you see anywhere on their website where it guarantees accuracy?
No.
Because I don't. I looked the other day, matter of fact, because I'm fixing to DNA a couple of dogs, and I don't see. I can't find anywhere on the
They
About
do not,
Us or nothing.
and you cannot. I mean, you cannot go after them for it because they do not guarantee accuracy, and they'll tell you that directly on the phone.
That's some weatherman model shit
Yeah.
right there. You can just be wrong
And-
whenever you want to be wrong, and
that's
there's no
why
repercussion.
It's going to get a little off topic here, but that's why when I tell everybody, when everybody's out there pumping their chest, oh, my dog's 6-panel clear. Is it? Is it really?
Is it?
Because chances are you don't even know the real DNA of your dog because the DNA company screwed it up. That's the problem. If they can't get the color right, and you're gonna put all your money on their health testing, nah, get out of here with that. That's why I don't care about it. So
It's probably not a bad thing to know, but I don't know how much weight you should put in it.
it's not something that. And now they're going to 8 or 9, but I'm not getting off on the DNA companies again.
No, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
We've done that, but we'll get back to the contracts. I mean, contracts are there, but we call them contracts, but
No, so we see a contract from the position of, so we live in Texas.
right.
It does matter in a contract. You sell a puppy or you do something like that you state in your contract that any litigation that happens in the future will take place in
Yes.
your home state, because if somebody in California, they have way different litigation
Right.
rules. And if you sell a puppy out there and they go spend, this is a fact, if they go spend $10,000 at the vet over something,
Yeah.
and they can sue you there, and there you're liable for that.
Right.
And you didn't even have any call in any of the say of the treatment.
Right.
You know, you can get a vet that just runs wild.
Yeah, and that is in my contract too, that if you're going to take me to court, you're going to take me to court in the county that I live in.
Yes.
And that the actual sale really happened in. I mean, you can say whatever, but if the product is here and you sent money here, this is where you purchase the dog. Wherever you take it from here is not my deal. Stud fee, whatever. So that's a good one to have in there. It's just...
Well, so there you go. What's the must-haves? If you were going to create an outline, you're going to get started. What's your outline of? Let's just go with, since we were talking about studs.
Right.
Go with the outline of studs, like your high points.
So in the studs, you have to highlight. You have to have in there what the puppy guarantee is for a litter, whether it's 2, 3, 20, it doesn't matter. Whatever y'all agree on, that has to be in there. The rebreed. And the time length. Well, let's start it off with you should have a time limit on when they can use that stud fee too. I mean, some people don't. I don't. If you pay me in full for a stud fee, until you use it, you got some time, or until the dog closes. You know, we're not going to hold on to it forever. But a lot of people will lock in a stud because it's an intro rate, and their female is only a month or two old. You know, a couple months old. Well, it's going to take them some time. So, but that's on a new stud. As you progress, that's going to go away. But so you need a time frame on the rebreed, especially, which we have now went to a year. You need the testing clause in there.
What?
Go ahead.
Question.
All right.
So what if what if they don't have the female that they plan on accumulating at some point in time to go to that male, but they just like him? Say you're running an intro,
Right.
and you say, hey, the dog is at 1,500 for these 5 spots or whatever, or to this amount of time, and then we're gonna go up. And then they don't want to be in the upscale, so they want to make sure they get it at that lower price, kind of like the old school way. So they go ahead and pay for the paid in full or lock it in, however they do it. But then they got to go find the female, and they just don't find the right female in time to make it to that year mark. What happens?
No. That's not. That's the initial breeding you're talking about there. That's not a rebreed.
He's talking about rebreed.
So, but also on that topic, in today's world and the way the Frenchies move and DNA and all of that, if you don't have a dog to breed to that dog, don't lock that dog in.
Well, if you do, it's
Right.
your risk.
Right.
You're doing it. Like
You're running
gambling.
that risk. You know, you're gambling.
Well, I guess if you tell them beforehand, before they pay the money, yeah, I guess it really is at that point, because now you know I got a year to get this dog, and then it be in heat. You can't think I got a year to get a dog, because the dog you have to accumulate the dog, plus the dog has to come in heat within a year's time.
Don't get me wrong. I had people when Flair first started working that locked him in and did not even have a female Frenchie on their yard, right?
Right.
So this is what they done. I sold them the stud fee. And some of them found a female pretty quick, and we've done those breedings. Some people run into the problem they couldn't find the breeding, but their buddy had one, right? Can me and my buddy or my partner use that stud fee on this dog? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So there's ways around that. And at the very end, you can sell the stud fee, but this is where we get into...
Yeah.
If you're going to sell that stud fee to somebody else, I need to know who that somebody else is, and we need to be in a conversation, because I have to rewrite the contract to that person, showing that they bought this stud fee via whoever, and how much the original price was, and how much they sold it to these people for. That way, the original breeder can't come back and say, I still have a stud credit to that dog, and take me to court and all of that. I need a contract signed by all three parties now saying this has now been transferred to X.
That's a
So
That's
does
a
it move
great
to the,
question.
so does that person get a new year?
Well,
Does it
Yes.
like
so
Yes.
if you did that,
so the whole year renews
Now,
with that new person?
I think that
Okay.
whole thing could be easily
you're
solved. I really do. Like you could just have a spot on your contract for transfer, to where the new person had to sign that. Like you would have
Right.
to auto pin that
Right.
or however,
Right.
and everybody agreed, and you wouldn't even have to redo the contract, and it would still be under the original
Right.
guidelines
So-
of your.
So, T. Rod, you're worried about the initial breeding. I didn't put a time limit on my initial breeding. If somebody pays in full early or lock in on that stud, I didn't put a time limit on them, right? What I'm talking about is when they do that initial breeding and then they confirm that their female is not pregnant. They now have
Right.
a year to use that rebreed. They cannot sell a rebreed. They cannot transfer a rebreed. They can. There's a lot of things I'll let people do with their rebreeds by teaming up with one of their partners or whatever. But physically, I will not allow them to sell that rebreed, because what that does is give the person buying it the false sense that they're going to breed to this dog, and if they miss, they're going to get a rebreed. No, contract states you get one rebreed, right? So if you transfer that, they got one shot and they're done. And
Got you.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's fair to the other person they're trying to sell that to. So once you've bred to the dog, that stud fee is yours. You better find something to breed it to within the next year.
So it probably
Yeah,
needs to be
I
something
can
in there
dig
too.
that. I mean, yeah, I understand that.
So-
that if that stud's not available anymore.
And I do. If the stud's not available anymore, it's transferable to any of my other studs. If you paid in full, there's never a refund ever. You can transfer that amount to a puppy. You have that amount of credit with me, whether it's towards a puppy, another stud, whatever. And per se, they paid $4,000 early lock in on a stud. I don't care how much you paid. If you transfer it to another stud, you
Right.
transferred it to another stud.
How common is that? Because I've used outside studs, but I don't guess I've ever had that it's a credit that I could use towards a puppy or any kind of business that you're doing. How common is that? Like I hadn't had anybody tell me that.
Normally, it's only if that stud's not available, right?
Well, I know, but that's never even been discussed as an option if
The stud's not available.
If the stud's not available,
Well,
or if I didn't get the rebreed off, or
If you do good business, those people's money shouldn't disappear just because your stud did.
that's a comforting, I guess. You don't never want to miss. Like if you buy stud credit, you want that to go right.
Right.
But if it goes awry, your female don't take something. If something, it don't even have to be with the stud. If the female can't take,
Right.
like I bought a Merle that I bred her 3 times and we quit. We fixed her and rehomed her because she absorbed every time.
Right.
So in that case, that would have been nice to know that the studs I was using,
Right.
I didn't, because I lost $2,500.
Right.
Is what I lost.
Yes.
Because I bred her, she absorbed, we had a conflict. I just wasn't going to rebreed her. But if I could have used that money towards a puppy, I would have probably done that.
Yeah.
And then probably, I don't know what to do with the puppy, but
Right.
I would have got something for my money rather than I'm just.
So if you look at it like this, and I don't, if they're breeding and they're missing, I don't apply that to, once they've bred, that money is gone. You have bred. If your female misses, she misses, but you have a rebreed. Now that money doesn't transfer to a puppy after that. What I'm saying is, if they paid in full and I sold the stud or the stud
Well,
passed
let's just
away,
say the bitch died before
Right.
we got the
I was
breeder.
just about to say that's what I was gonna ask, because in so many instances people don't talk about it a lot, but how many people have lost a dog during C-section?
that's the other thing. You know, there's so many variables that you can't lock everything down in a contract. It's almost got to be a case by case deal, right? The contract is just to cover the initial fine points, to set some pretty ground rules. That
So it was explained
everything
to me,
else is just good customer service.
It was explained to me, like on a contract, it is just essentially to set the ground rules, a bare minimum that the person rendering the service
Has to cover.
will do.
Right.
And then anything after that that's where ethics and business come in.
Yes, that's exactly right, and that's what I'm saying. So, you know, like Like right now, I've got Jose out in New Mexico. We bred to his female. We bred Flair to his female. He had a litter, and he had more than 3. They didn't make it. He had to get put in hospital. I don't remember the whole situation, but he ended up with one, a Flair daughter, and we did a rebreed. We've done 2 rebreeds on the initial female, and she didn't take. Something just ain't clicking between them 2 dogs, right? I don't want him to lose his money. He only ended up with 1 puppy. Granted, he had a litter of alive puppies that were more than that, but they didn't even make it to be able to be sold or anything. Yeah. So I'm like, whatever, So he hits me up the other day, and he's like, hey, my Flair's daughter's in. Can I use her instead? Well, absolutely. But we switched from Flair to Rubble, which is fine with me. And I'm good with that. So the only stud that I will not switch Flair to straight up is 24 karat, because I co-hone him with Kim and Brandon, and
the DNA is a lot different too.
And there's a lot of more DNA there, and out of respect for them, you can transfer and eat up part of that stud fee with the Flair credit, but you're still going to have to pay their half of the stud to them. So you're going to have to put money on top of that, which some people ain't going to like because they paid a lot for the Flair stud credit. You could just buy a 24 karat stud credit for less, right? And so, but that's a non-negotiable. That was the deal between me and them, as to where my other studs, when I put them out, we all kind of know I don't care. We take care of each other's and all of that, but just the deal I made with them, and I'm not going to tell everybody the deal I made with them on that dog and what it took to get him here and all of that, because again, that's really not anybody's business. But that is part of the deal was I can't leave them hanging and transfer my Flair stud, and I'm just not. I'm
well,
just
that
not
wouldn't
going
be
to.
good business even if you owned him outright.
Right.
Like it seemed like the only way you could
that's
do
a way step up, and that's the new hottest DNA out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give you that because you was going to breed to a regular Rojo, and now you want a Rojo Koi.
Maybe the only way that would be feasible is if them were the only 2 studs you have.
Right.
Or you have access to. There's
right.
so many.
And here's the thing. So we had a guy hit us up. He's already done his initial breeding with Flair. Was well over a year ago. And it was almost a year before he used Flair after he paid his initial, paid in full. So here we are 2 years into it. He hits us up and he's like, hey, can I transfer that to 24 karat? No. Okay. Then I posted up about closing Flair in November, and he hit us up and he said, well, then y'all are just going to have to transfer that rebreed to 24 karat, right? No, you have till November to use your rebreed. Now we're going to be 3 years into this breeding. It should have been done. You've got multiple females. I don't care which female you use it on. If you don't want to use it on the original one because you don't think she's going to take, do what you got to do. But I'm not going to transfer this stud fee just because I'm closing Flair. I've gave you ample time to get this done. And actually in my contract right now, it states that you had 2 years to use it, completely be done with the breeding. So everybody that has a lock-in is, and I'm going to have some stragglers after I close him, maybe. There's a couple that I've guaranteed that was done on some deals when I sold puppies that they'll have access to him. But as far as all the rebreeds and lock-ins and anything that was done prior to September 29th, 2025 is dead on November 7th, 2026. I've give everybody a year. Unless they reach out and say, look, bro, my female that I was going to use on him, that I used on him, passed away. I had to get another puppy and I'm waiting for her to get there or something. Then that's a whole nother situation. Then we can discuss that.
Well, so yeah, we're straying a little bit though, but so like, let's get back to like the outline of your contract,
Right.
like
You
the things you would. To me, like
Right.
litigation, like you gotta
the litigation has to be in the
pup
county.
count,
Pup
rebreeding count,
rebreeding, the
yeah.
DNA clause, what else? And for us, it's the social media clause now. Of you can't go to social
I think
media.
that's a real good deal there, because I think once somebody runs the social media right out the gate,
Yeah.
like all adulting on solving the problem is over.
Yes.
Now it's a bunch of childish bullshit going back and forth on
Right.
social media, and in all honesty, nobody really knows what happened except for those two people,
Right.
because the people supporting the stud owner only know his side, or
Right.
their side, you should say, and then the person that bought the stud credit, they're screaming their version of the story, and somewhere in the middle is what was actually agreed on.
Right. And it is that contract.
Yes.
That is what is agreed on. And like, again, I'm going to repeat this. Everybody wants a contract until it doesn't benefit them, and then the contract does not matter. That's where we are in the dog game, is that person purchasing the puppy or the stud fee wants that contract until that contract doesn't benefit them, and then the stud owner or the puppy sale person is trash, and we're going to go to social media. Well, now we got a clause in there that says when you do that, we don't give a damn after that. You signed it, you sealed it, you delivered it. It is enforceable in court. It happens all the time in corporations when they make people sign contracts, NDAs, whatever. If you break it, there's a penalty for it, and your penalty is the contract is null and void and done. You've lost your money, you've lost your rebreed, you lost any claim to anything on a puppy. If you do it and you're in the middle of trying to get a litter registered, per se, you have 3 puppies and they live to 6 weeks old, and then one of them dies, and then you say, well, you owe me a rebreed, and we tell you, no, we don't, and you run to social media, we're not registering that litter either. You've lost your ability to have your litter registered at all.
He said he cutting everything off.
And it sucks because we have had to come to this point in the dog game to where people are trying stuff, and it's not just that the puppy died. They just didn't like how they didn't turn out or something, or they didn't get a big enough litter, so they hide a puppy and say it died, and then they try to pull some weird ass shit on you.
Well, I think right now it's, I don't know, but I might be completely wrong. T-Rod, you need to weigh in on this after I express this opinion. I think there's a transition going on, because you do have that transition of, man, contracts were so important when you were spending $20,000 and $50,000 on a dog. I can't imagine doing that and then getting a dog that you can't breed, or the DNA ain't right, or
100%.
something's it's got some kind of health issue, because the value of the dogs were so high, you were just breeding anything to look like a Frenchie.
Right.
And now the value of them is not as high. Like that's not the norm. $10,000 is not the norm.
Right.
And people will get online and argue that full shit. Show me the receipts. I'm not saying you're giving your dogs away,
Right.
but I am saying that those $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 sales, that's few and far between now. So there's a transition going on of people holding on to, because it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
So people are holding on to that, and then you got other people that are accepting the fact that it's just not that anymore. And if you're going to get that, now it's not shit.
Right.
It has to be a quality dog.
Right.
And so, like, that's contracts for that level. I would sue your ass over $20,000.
Yes,
but
and that's,
over $2,500, I'm gonna just hate you forever.
Right.
And I'm gonna go ahead and probably bash you on. That's the thing, is fuck around with somebody that spent $2,000 with you that knows they ain't gonna sue you. Don't give a shit about all your contracts and your clauses.
There you go.
I'm just gonna fucking run you through the dirt.
And it's not going to solve anything really in the end. But
Well, they're not trying. They're just trying to get back, right?
Right.
They're not trying to solve nothing, because they've already done said, I'm not, in their mind, they've already made their mind up, I'm not gonna mess with him no more over this little amount of money.
So I'm gonna equate the contract to, like my dad used to say, a lock is only there to keep an honest person honest.
Yeah.
The contract is only there to keep honest people honest. if they believe and they stand on something, no matter what the contract says, they're going to honor it on both sides of that aisle. Those that don't give a damn, it don't make a shit what you put in that contract, how you do it. They're going to run to social media. They're going to run and tell everybody some bullshit because everybody thinks the easiest way to force anybody to do what they want is to go to Facebook or Instagram nowadays. Maybe not so much Instagram because I've already said it. That's where everybody goes to hide and be bitches. But on Facebook, they love to get on there because when you're scrolling, you see comments and you see everything, and it's just they just love the drama, and they think that's how they're going to get their name out there and build themselves by attacking another breeder. Those days are gone.
Like T-Rod, I don't want to speak on your stuff. You can, if you want, but like you've had a couple deals to where you took, putbacks or stud credits in exchange for things, and there was no contract, and it was a struggle, getting to that finish line, right? Like, do you think a contract might have changed it or made it more clear?
On a putback?
Well, I know you had that stud credit, and it, the stud that you originally had it to, went away.
Oh yeah,
like,
with it being the way it was. Oh,
if you'd have had a contract with them on that stud credit,
it would have. I still don't think it would have saved me in none of those situations because each time, to be honest with you, I felt like at the time I felt like I benefited from it each time that it went that way, because I changed from like two or three different dogs before I got to a final decision and we actually got the breeding done.
Because that was because the stud owner was good. What if he wasn't? I guess is what I'm getting at.
That's the thing.
Well, see, the thing is, he had no choice but to be good because the reason we could never get a breeding done was because
I feel like
he had no choice.
Happening.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna say,
legally, I ain't gonna say that, but I'm gonna say that.
I'm just gonna put it like this: when you get bred in a situation, and the reason why we can't breed to the dog is because you tell me each time that something is wrong with this dog, or there's a situation with this dog, and this dog is here or there, and it makes it easier for you. I don't necessarily like in one instance, the first one. The situation with the dog had a bad allergy. They could never get rid of it. So it ended up being a dog, I guess, pretty much he kind of almost took out of his program. So which was,
that's good,
honest
though.
on his behalf.
That's good, yeah.
And which was good, right? That's honest on his behalf and which was good for me. That's what I'm saying. So I benefited from it the first time, okay? The second time, it was a situation where the dog ended up not being there anymore. It was out on co-own. And it was somewhere else in another country, and then to get it over and do all this stuff, and it would have done something to his situation. So we ended up switching to another dog. Now, once I got to that dog, I was pretty much stuck between that dog and another dog because he gave me another offer as well. So now I've looked at 4 dogs total, but it's been a 2-year period, and I'm trying to get this breeding done. One, because of the simple fact is I'm starting to feel like, am I going to get the breeding done? Because it started to feel like something going on. But at the same time, I was trying to get it done because what if he changes up his stuff in his program and he says, if you hadn't used your breeding by now, it's been 2 years, you don't get to use it and there's no money back. You see what I'm saying? So many situations put me in a position to where I was ready to get it done. So me and a co-owner that I had on a female that we accumulated together, we went ahead and used it because we thought that would be the best breeding and to get a full fluffy litter. Well, it just didn't go the way it just didn't lock up. The mom actually overpowered him like hell. So the breeding just didn't lock up good, like you talked about earlier. The 2 dogs just didn't click.
But I'm talking about as far as the so let's just say you weren't
saved me nothing because it actually went good.
Hey, so let's just say you weren't you. Let's say you were a 65-year-old woman that ain't as assertive as you. And I'm not saying that particular situation, but that is a good that situation could have went what we're talking about to where you so that would be where if I was that old lady breeding dogs and I'm not going to roll up to nobody's house and threaten them.
Right.
That a contract is the only recourse you have at that point. so it needs to be well defined. Like the first time that he moved, although it was a good thing, let's just say it wasn't. Let's just say the dog died because of care. Now what? If you don't have something comparable to replace it with, if you don't have a contract, you did just lose that money.
Here's a good example. So I locked a dog in one time.
Well, I mean, I get it because if I had to be honest, there was still some. I wouldn't say the contract would have saved me because there was still some complication a little bit at
Right.
the end of it all. But I don't think a contract still would have saved me with that complication part because that was kind of something totally off scale from actually just using the damn dog. You
Well,
get what I'm
no,
saying?
yeah,
So,
I'm just saying if you didn't have a
but
contract. Let's just say
now
he
had it
told you
been
to go.
differently,
Let's just
yeah,
say,
had it been
hey,
differently,
so just say you didn't have a contract in this situation. It was just a gentleman's agreement, and that's
right?
where it
It
was.
was.
If that guy didn't keep the effort going, if he didn't have the ethics that he had, he could have told you just to piss up a rope, and you'd been out there breeding.
True
Yes.
story. And I actually thought that might have been a case when it kicked because, like I said, I started to get worried every time I tried to do a breeding to where we kept having to switch dogs and I kept getting opportunities, at the same time. So I'm like, is he just telling me this shit because he knows that I've inquired? Because normally, if I had a dog, if I inquired if he had a dog and we already locked in, he ended up coming out with something else, and I and and I
You in
inquired about
trouble.
that dog already,
So
another one.
She
So
found you. You in
so
trouble.
here's an instance. I locked in two studs at two different times early, and so one of them, when I locked the stud in, I paid $500, and then a couple weeks later, the dude was doing these specials for $750.
Yeah.
Well, I hit him up and I was like, "I'll pay that other $250. I'm good, right?" No, fuck you then.
well, see,
You know.
well, okay. Now, if you put it in that term, then yeah, a contract would have been needed because I can't say that did. I didn't see him do that same thing because he did.
Right.
I just never inquired about trying to get the money back
I don't know.
or
No,
trying to
no,
ask was
and
there
I
going to be a
didn't.
difference paid
That's where I'm
because
going
I
with
knew for
that.
sure it wasn't going to happen.
Is I lost that $500. We had a contract, but it was for another price, right? But if you're going to run a special, you should honor that special for everybody, right? That's came in
Right.
and done that. So, and the second one, I locked in a dog, and this is my mistake, and this is where people need to understand because at the time there was a lot of dogs coming in from China and other places, right? I locked in a dog that was not in the United States yet for $500. I locked it in at a lower intro rate because I wanted to use it. Well, come to find out, the dog never makes it to the United States. Now you have to make a decision. Do you want to fight this guy or cause a big stink? Which I'm sure if I'd have brought it up to the breeder, he'd have been more than happy to transfer it to something else. But I just looked and I watched and I watched and I watched. He just never had nothing I wanted, right? So it was my mistake by locking in a dog that I knew was not in the United States yet, that never ended up in the United States. Why am I going to fight with this guy when it was my doing? You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to lock it in. I chose to. So I'm not going to go fight this guy. And I've done business with this guy since then. But it was 3 years ago. Why am I going to bring up something from 3 years ago? I should have brought that up a long time ago. When I knew the dog wasn't in the United States, I should have brought it up then. I should not wait 3 years when I'm going to do business with this guy again and tell him, aha, but remember, you did this and I gave you money. Just, it's $500. Chalk it up. Go on. Don't rock the boat because it only makes you look worse when, the guy probably doesn't even remember at 3 years that I had locked that dog in, right?
Well, if you made a big enough stink, then he would.
He would.
Because I guarantee
But-
you, I had the same. So it wasn't no overseas stuff, but I locked into a dog, none of breeding it didn't take. All right, well, we locked it. We had already, I paid for that stud fee up front.
Right.
And then I locked into another dog that they had. And when the first breeding didn't take, and it all went south with the finger pointing and the bullshit, I just walked away from the other lock-in too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like I lost a lot there, but
you can. I know this guy. I know him. He's a great guy, and if I brought it up to him, he would make it right today. I know he would. But on the other hand of that, I feel like it was my responsibility when I knew the dog didn't make it into the United States. And it really wasn't, I don't know if it was his deal that he didn't come up with the money to get it here, or he got screwed too. It doesn't, none of that matters. What matters is I gave him $500. We had a contract, and I didn't reapproach the issue to say, hey, what are we going to do with this lock-in? I just sat on it and I just let it go away because I was just waiting for him to get something I wanted. But at any point in time in there, I should have messaged him and said, hey, are we going to transfer this to another stud or something like that?
when do you get to the point where that shit? Well, I guess we're gonna get off of here. I was gonna say that I'm to the point now that for at least the next couple of years, I don't, unless it's something just super special, I don't see a point to outcross. I got enough
and that's the other thing. We're getting to the point where most people have studs or access to studs through their partners. Nobody's really, they are, because again, you've got guys like Isaac and all them out there doing them $1,000 flash sales and stuff, selling early lock-ins.
Oh, he just put another one. Did you see it?
No.
Oh, no. It's not a sale. It's actually, you have to be a repeat customer to get those prices. Well, so he went out, he did some, and I don't know if this was his plan or if he's just building off of what he accidentally stumbled on. I don't know. It's not like I know him personally, but so he put up a couple in his stories. It was he was trying to work with he was tired of the old bullshit. He wanted new customers.
Right.
So he run those flash sales. Matter of fact, that was back when I bought a credit.
Right.
And that was his deal. It's like, I want to work with new people. Now he's got 20 spots that are just for repeat customers from that.
Why you want to work with new people? I mean, I'm gonna use Isaac for an instance, and I have nothing against Isaac, but I'm just gonna use him for an example. Those old customers made him a ton of money. So what's the matter with them now?
Well, now he went back and said that his deal is only to repeat customers.
Well, I understand that, but you said when he was doing it before, he wanted new customers. He was tired of the old bullshit. Well, I get you want new customers, but don't forget the ones that put you where you are, because they're the ones that's going to bring your ass back down to earth and let you know, hey, we ain't even going to be a repeat customer because you didn't think enough of us to only do those sales to those people before now.
I think there are a few people that are principled like that, but I think the majority, they cotton to whatever it is their needs are. If they can, if he had DNA,
I know
that they can get. It don't matter. They could be out there, fuck this dude, he's a piece of shit. And the minute he runs a sale, it's because it's not like he posts the sale list, right? Nobody knows you bought that credit. The minute he does, I guarantee you those people.
I ain't going to say nothing, because I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of people I don't fucking like, but if I can catch their stud at a decent price, I'm going to use that son of a bitch. I'll tell everybody again, quit breeding.
Can't be breeding to the breeder.
There you go. Dog. Quit breeding to the breeder and breed to the dog. I don't give a shit what you think of them, what you've heard about them, none of that. If you got a chance to breed to that dog, okay, so for instance, if you hear, he does shitty shipments on semen, great. Ask him, can I do it in person? If they agree to let you do it in person, you lock that some bitch in and you go do it in person. It don't make shit where you're from. I mean, you eliminate the thing that you're hearing bad about that person and piss on him. You're trying to better your yard. Again, that's just common sense is, now, if they've done bad business with you, I understand. I'm not going to do business with them again. If I paid them and I didn't get shit out of it, I'm not going to do it again. But if you're just hearing things and per se you don't like how they move, a lot of people don't like Aaron J because he's always flashing his Lambo and this and that and all that. But somebody keeps using his dogs, or he couldn't keep flashing all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The only picture of his Lambo would be on the back of a tow truck
That's-
going back to the paint.
That's what I'm saying. So let's not get hung up
But that's the
on.
reason why. But that goes back to what you were just saying a while ago. Some people don't need. It doesn't matter what you do online, what you say about them online. They don't need anybody. They don't need anything. They do everything they do in house. They have their own resources, and they got their own money. So what can stop you?
It's
You know what I'm
happening
saying?
with a
At that
lot of
point,
mid-level breeders now. That
that's
is
why
what a
I
lot of
always say I have my
mid-level
own studs in house.
people are doing. Like I see that movement on social media a lot, where these people are clicking up that before they were solo. Like when I started dealing with some of these people, they were by themselves, and now I see them. They're in groups of 5 and 6 and 7 people.
Because
It makes sense.
and
though. Why
exactly
wouldn't
when you asked me that time when you was like, well, why would you want to partner with me? What do I bring to the table? And I told you, it's a group. When we get together, now we can pool our resources, and where you don't have to pay a stud fee to breed a female to one of my studs or whatever or something. We all can benefit from this, and if we do it right, and none of us get a big ego, and none of us are worried about being this top dog or being the best in the world, we can make legitimate, great money by working as a team, as compared to, and we can get this DNA in dogs faster. So if we line up our breedings, we do everything right, we can get to the DNA faster, especially if it takes 2 copies of anything. We can just start breeding and boom, there it is. Me and Gabe done it flawlessly for years. Gabe Pineda, that's where Flair came from. And that's where, again, we were kind of an anomaly in the dog game at that time, because while Gary Eros was the studs we were going to, everybody knows Gary's got a mouth online, and a lot of people didn't want to use his dogs, right? We did, because he done us very well. And I'm a fan of somebody that does a little shit talking anyway, so, but he,
Can't imagine why.
so we used his dogs, but I didn't use the big name dogs that everybody else was using. So when me and Flair popped onto the scene, Justin Crawford, Isaac, Mo, they didn't know what to do with me or how to handle me, because they couldn't cut me off, because I was not attached to any of them in any form, shape, or fashion, in the fact that I needed anything they had because I already had it. And they were trying to figure out how I'd done it and how to combat that, because no matter what they posted about me or what they done, it didn't affect me, because, again, those big names, when they do that, are only affecting you from buying or using other big name people's dogs, because they're cliquish. They're the ones that first got in together and started saying, hey, if we all gatekeep up here at the top, then we can control everything down below. If they've got to use our dogs, they've got to buy puppies from us to get all this DNA, then we control everything.
Yeah, but by proxy, that's going to go away. Like, you have to realize that's on a clock, because for you to sell it,
Right.
it's putting it out there.
Right.
And once you put it out there, it's a matter of time before it's a virus.
But,
it spreads.
but they made a lot of money doing that, and I'm not going to say I was the first one to ever do it or anything like that, but when I came along with Flair, I busted their whole method of, you got to use their dogs or you're not going to make it, or you're not going to have a top stud, or you're not going to. So it's hard. And now, here we are. We have thousands and thousands of small breeders that are busting that myth every day. And how are they doing it? The buddy system. We're all joining up. My partner in here, we can create this. We can do that. For instance, you look at me. I've got Benny and T-Rod and Gabriel Cruz and Kim and Brandon. There's not a single DNA in this world right now that the group that I'm a part of cannot make tomorrow. We can just breed the females. We can make it. We can have it. The kicker to it is, and I don't want to sound conceited or whatever, it's probably going to be better than what's on the market, because we slowly done this, and we have badass structured dogs to breed to things that are just a little bit off. But once we do these final breedings of this next pairing of them, we're almost to a finished product. I mean, we can get better. We can always get better on stuff, but we're better than everything else that's out there. I ain't gonna say everything that's out there, but we can compete.
It's competitive.
We're very competitive. You know, we can compete with anybody. But the ones that's going to break you is that little unknown breeder that nobody knows about, that's kept their head down, that has quietly amassed all this DNA. The thing with them is, once they get it, what do they do with it? They've got to get their name out there.
That's where I am.
So, and you are 100% right.
I got it all.
Right. You know, you have everything you need to compete with any camp in the world. The only thing you got to do now is get it all on the ground and get your name out there. And I'm going to tell everybody again, it's not who you are, it's what you got. If you've got the dog and you can get a little bit of attention on it and people notice it, those people will give you a lot of attention on it.
I would think when you do it like that, though, you're going to have more than one dog. You're not. So, like the Flair, the Teddy Grahams, the Willy Wonkas, that model's gone. So, like if you are a smaller breeder and you come up with the dog,
right,
that dog's going to have a lifespan as far as a breeding career.
Right.
Period. Like he's going to, whether it's a year or 3,
right,
whatever. The thing is now that you got your name known, you can't be just known for that one dog. Like you got to progress, right? Or else you're going to fade away.
Right.
Like that's what happens.
And that is exactly where I've been. The hardest part is when you get that one dog and it becomes so popular, trying to create.
Your standards a little high though now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Trying to create or outdo that dog is a letdown on so many levels. You have litter after litter chasing anything that's better, and it don't make shit what you put on your yard. That one dog is what it is.
So we was talking about this the other day though. So that's what I'm saying. Your standards too high. For T-Rod, this is a question for you too, both of you. If you produce a stud, how many breedings does that stud need to do before you consider him a successful stud? 170 is a lot. That's not a realistic. That's a shooting star.
It is, and that's what I've had to come to terms with. I'm never ever. Am I probably ever going to create another dog that's done what Flair has done? We're just not in that market anymore. We're just not in that. Let me take that back.
No, and it was the DNA.
Right.
Like it was all the things.
So let me take that back. There is a chance, and it ain't none of y'all's damn business what I just done, but there is a chance that there is a dog coming. Nah, I'm lying. I'm going to tell you. We just bred 24 carat to a pink carrier, Rojo pink carrier female. And if I get a Rojo Koi big rope full fluffy out of this pairing, I have a chance at a stud that can do great numbers. But in today's market, if your stud does 20, 30 breedings in its lifetime, that stud is successcul. There's many competition out there in the stud game now.
If you had him on average, because you're going to have an intro and then you're going to have the top end. If his average was $1,500,
right,
that's $30,000.
Right,
like that dog.
Right.
That would be that's successful on any level.
If you sold that dog in today's market, you might make $20,000. So over the life of it, if you can make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, if that stud can. Let's quit doing on breedings and let's do it on money alone. If that stud makes you $50,000 in his lifetime, that dog was successful.
I would say very successful. Yes.
So people need to quit looking at it as a number of stud fees you sold and a money amount. You have to figure out when you have that stud, especially if you produce it as a puppy, you have to weigh that option. Okay, I got an offer for $25,000.
Those things are kind of linear, though, right? Right. So the more breedings he does, the higher the more the demand is,
Right.
and then you're gonna those numbers are gonna run together. I would think
Right.
for a minute, and then when you peak out, what happens after that?
Right.
That's kind of up to you.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. So if you have the dog, and let's just say somebody throws you a $25,000 offer out there, now you have to decide.
No, you don't. That dog gone.
Well, can you make more money? And you have to decide. Am I okay with? Do I need the $25,000 now to go do something, or do I want to sustain it and maybe I get a breeding or two a month, or let's just say 10 breedings a year off of him, and I've got him at $2,500. Well, first year you're just making up that $25,000. You're making money, but after that, you got to figure out, is that dog going to have a lifespan long enough? Are you going to be able to work him and promote him enough to get past that $25,000 threshold?
You gotta want to though. Like that's
Right,
the
and
other
that's
thing.
the other thing. So there's a lot that goes in it. I mean, everybody told me I was completely stupid and retarded when I did not take the $100,000 offer on Flair. They don't tell me that anymore. You know, everybody in my family told me I had lost my shit. That anybody that wanted to pay $100,000 for a dog, take their damn money and run. And I kept trying to tell them, y'all don't understand this one. This one is different. And they's like, Kevin, we've heard this before. You've been telling us since the 90s you were going to get rich on dogs. It took me 30 years, but it's fixing to happen. And Flair was that one. So you have to know the market you're in, kind of a peek ahead.
T-Rod, if somebody offered you $25,000 for one of them puppies you just had, you taking it?
Well, my friend, all I can tell you is they can pick whatever the fuck they want with it. I'm not even gonna. I'll close my eyes and tie both my hands behind my back. You leave the money on the table. You grab what you want and go ahead and go out the fucking door. I'm not gonna stop you.
This is where we differ, and it kind of shows the different
But
places.
I do have a couple of dogs in here that I wouldn't sell for nothing in the world though.
Right, but
Like not out of that litter. But
this shows
as far as
people
dogs that I own.
where our group is kind of in a different level, because even Brandon and Kim can sell dogs for more than I can sometimes. And it's one of those personal things where you get spoiled when you get to a certain level and you've been selling dogs for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 and you've had a successful stud. So you know if you really pushed it, you could make a lot of money. And $25,000 isn't that enticing to me if I can make $100,000 on that stud the first year it's in business.
See, that's the difference though for me. And I'm not one of those guys that if I'm talking to you about a dog, I got to go talk to my wife about buying it. But if you're going to talk to us about a dog, you're going to talk to her. Because in my mind, ain't no dog worth that in this world. But I realize that's flawed thinking because like I probably won't nobody ever be harder on my dogs than me. Like in what I'm trying to do. And that's all I care. So when I have a litter, if I didn't get what I wanted out of there, those dogs are pets. Like they ain't going to nobody. And hell, if it was up to me, I'd give them away to good homes. But but Erin ain't having that. So you gonna deal with her when we selling the dogs because I don't have the right mindset for that.
You know, and that's me, and I am, you know, because everybody always asks me if you could change anything about Flair, what would you do? You'd make him smaller. Well, you look down in Houston, you got Big Rob down there with Little Ricky. He is what everybody wanted Flair to be, what everybody tried changing him into. And he's on his own journey with that dog, and, you know, I wish him best luck, but it's a hard market. Little Ricky 3 years ago, I'd have made $3-4 million on that dog. Hands down. No, and this is a great example because 3 years ago, that dog would have been so far ahead in structure and all of that. But here we are 3 years later. And now he's a Rojo and Tan and he's small, but everybody's got small dogs now. So he is, again, competing against a lot of people. When Flair and Wonka and Teddy Grahams come out, that was each other's competition. There was 3 dogs competing against each other for all the money out there. there's a ton of dogs, and now he's got to compete with Rojo
the market
Coys
share. The market share is smaller now. Yeah,
you know, he's got so many people to go up against. Not that he has a bad dog, not that but if little Ricky gets 30, 40, 50 breedings, that dog will be considered absolutely extremely successful in today's market. So, but 3 years ago, 20, 30, 40 breedings for that dog would have been a failure on the stud owner's part, because it should have sold.
Well, that's probably what it's going to come down to anyways in today's market with the competition out there. Is it's going to come out with customer service. And
yeah, because you got to look at it now. I mean, he's got a lifespan, definitely more now so than ever. Studs have a definite lifespan in usability, because you have people like me, you know. I didn't chase to make Flair smaller like that because I felt like it was a lateral move to me. Flair already throws small. I don't care. I was successful with him. I wanted more in him. So now I finally get to do the breeding with 24 karat and our pink carrier girl. And our pink carrier girl is only like 12 pounds. And anybody that don't believe me, she's tiny. You can ask Benny. I'm telling you. She is. She half the size of Carrot. And I'm telling y'all, if I hit that one, there will not be another Rojo Koi Big Rope full fluffy. Just that DNA, not even with the pink in it, just that DNA that can compete with it. I don't care what color koi it comes out. If I get a koi out of that, well, the only thing I can get is Rojo or Isabella's out of this litter. No matter whether it carries pink or it doesn't carry pink, I can promise you right now, there will not be another Big Rope full fluffy koi in this world that will compete with the size of that dog. It ain't going to happen. No way, no shape, no form. There's just not another small dog out there that's going to compete with it with that much DNA. Even you back off to an Isabella or just a straight up Rojo, there's not going to be one.
how much longer do you think this Koi and Husky run's going to be? I mean, we didn't go way off track, so let's just go with it, I guess.
Well, so here's what I tell everybody. And we're in the second wave of the Husky and Kois. Because like any DNA that comes out, like right now, the Floodles are kind of trying to take off, but everybody's a little more shy now.
It's because they're hit and miss. Like you see some of them that are starting to look okay, and then some of them are still hideous.
It used to be when the new DNA come in, there was two peaks to the DNA. When it first come out, nobody gave a shit what the structure was. They needed the DNA, so they sold for good money. And then it was like, oh, that didn't last. That fad went away. It didn't go away. The real breeders started getting a hold of it and working on it. Well, when they get it pretty close to perfected or a good looking dog, they come back out. Now you get another spike in the market because everybody's like, okay, now I can get on
so
that.
It's the F2s, right?
Yeah.
So like the F1s are worth a lot of money because that's the first cross.
Right.
And then you sell that out, and then the F2s and the F3s are in people's camps.
Right. When you get to F3, F4s, and the real, I'm going to make some people mad, but the real breeders that take it and fix the structure on it and are willing to take a step back from the DNA, fix the structure, or they have the DNA in a structured dog that's going to help. Anyways, however you want to put it, but there's a second spike in the market. So that's where we are with the Husky Kois right now. We're in that second spike where people are going to want it because the structure is finally there. The Floodles came and they're kind of in that initial phase of, and people are like, nah, some people are buying them for big money and some people are like, I don't want nothing to do with it. They're waiting for that second wave. So we've kind of seen the first wave of the new DNA decrease, which hurts those top breeders that always controlled the new DNA. Now when they're introducing it, people are like, look, I'm just going to wait till somebody fixes it and then I'm going to go get it. Especially with like the Floodle where it only takes one breeding. So now people are like, I'm smart enough to know that somebody's going to fix it and I can get it fixed in one breeding. I don't have to be the front person to get that money. So that's where the markets have shifted and all of that too. So, and at that point, but there's one DNA in here that continuously hangs out there and it hasn't had a spike and it hasn't had it's just kind of flatlined from the beginning, and that's the pink. People can say whatever they want. Oh, this guy's got a pink. It's just not there, and some people just don't want it, and you just don't know. I don't know if it's ever going to have a peak, a spike.
They're going to have to figure it out because you don't know how to. Okay, so you got a pink. Well, I seen a pink they call caramel. Well, hell, that's about 3 different DNA combinations.
Right.
There's nothing locked down to where, like, you know that if I got a full pink dog and I breed it to this dog with DNA, this is what I'm going to get most likely.
Right.
It's not figured out.
They have not hit the color yet that in that combination that makes people say, okay, now I'm going to go out and get that.
It's the tiger strike. I'm going to tell y'all.
I know what it is.
Figure that shit out and you're going to sell a dog.
Me and you both know it's the tiger stripe brindle.
Goddamn right.
If you can get a tiger stripe brindled fluffy, and it really looked that way, or even a short.
Because I don't think pink is my humble opinion is pink. It's not the color. It's going to be the pattern change.
Yes.
Because the colors are the colors already. Pink will tint everything, right?
Right.
It'll change rojo. It'll change this to a different tint.
But
I don't think that's a big enough difference.
Here's the biggest problem everybody's having in the pinks, because they want a pink dog. If they're going to breed pink, they want it to look pink. They all have too much DNA to make it pink. Listen to this when I tell y'all this. Y'all are all scared of fawn. You want a pink dog? Make sure it's fawn to start off with. End of story. That simple. It's got to be fawn. If it ain't fawn, it ain't pink. It's whatever other color that your DNA changes it to. Everybody thinks I'm crazy.
No, because I mean, you look at it like a black, pink will turn caramel. Rojo's something with chocolate, it'll turn that caramel color. Yeah. It tints it.
Yes.
I've seen people talking about, oh, it's just another form of cream, but it is if the DNA of the dog is there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Ain't nobody figured, and the ones that figured it out are keeping it to themselves.
Right.
Probably, rightfully so or smartly, but pink. It ain't going to be one of those things.
I see it every day on Facebook, and they're like, "Oh, look at this pink dog."
And you still got to get the fucking tails out of it too. That's the other thing. It ain't all been refined yet. We're not there yet.
Right. There's still some tails floating around in that pink, and that's the other thing people need to quit. If you're going to go chase this DNA, understand that DNA ain't from a Frenchie. It's from something else.
Right.
And that something else, 9 times out of 10 had a tail. So somewhere in there, you're going to get a tail. All I can recommend y'all do is dock that damn thing. Be honest with your customer. Dock it. Move on. But all the posts on Off the Leash Media about this dog throwing tails, hell, is a full pink. What'd you expect it to throw?
Exactly. So that'd probably tell you right there whether somebody's really an educated breeder or not. If they're mad, if they bred to a full pink and they got a tail, and they're mad about it, like it surprised them.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of should have known whether he disclosed it or not when you bred to a full pink.
When the fluffies come out, there was tails in those too.
Especially at this stage. Like, full pinks are like, at this point, lots of people got pink carriers. Hell, I got pink carriers.
Right.
And I don't even give a shit about pink.
Right.
But, like, the full pinks, the good full pinks, they're still pretty sparse.
And you look at it.
So they're out in front of everybody, right? They did it. They jumped the line somewhere.
I've been chasing this pink since before Flair was created. I wanted a pink even before I thought about a Rojo or any of that. I was chasing pink. I still don't have one to this. I got a badass pink carrier, which all of y'all should be ashamed of yourselves that are listening, because I tried selling this dog to everybody in the world, and everybody's like, oh, she's fawn. Okay. Anyways, y'all's lost, because now she's been bred, and it's going to be, y'all just going to use my stud off of it. But it's so hard to get it correct, and I'm not about that F1 and all of that. I don't want a tail. She was born without a tail, so I'm like, we got to. It
takes more than one generation to get the tail out of there, anyways. Like, you're not going.
I will tell you this: I have seen them be born with tails and not really throw tails the next on their litters. There's some studs out there I know that They had a tail. They
Well,
were
then
cropped.
but that would be the third generation,
Right.
Like you're not
Right.
going. The second generation, you still.
Yeah, that I'm not going to lie. They were born with full ass tails. I know that for a fact. But they're not throwing full ass tails.
Right.
So that's the plus. It's not a tail's not hard to get rid of. You can just cut it off and send it in for DNA sample. But
That's not the vision or the advice of this podcast.
Right.
that is said in jest. You should always use a veterinary professional to do such
well,
things.
I didn't mean literally grab your scissors.
Well, you
got
got to be careful. I know you didn't, but somebody
But if you do,
will get a phone call.
if you do, use a dime and put it at the very base of the tail. And when it goes to the out, never mind. I'm not going to tell y'all how to do that. That's how I used to do my Boston Terriers. There you go. Y'all wonder where all them tails and stuff come from? Some of y'all don't even realize Boston Terriers are born with tails. Some of them have screw tails. And if they do, you can guarantee its DNA will come back that there's some Frenchie in that Boston Terrier. Because a Boston Terrier has tails. So don't let nobody bullshit you on that. So some of this DNA they brought in that they said didn't come from the Boston, it did, and the pug and all of that stuff. So it is, but
Well, I mean, that's where the panda came from, was
Right.
the pug. So,
Right.
I mean, I'm guessing the EA really came from a husky. That was probably...
I don't know. There's so much new DNA. I used to try to keep up. Here's the best advice I can give anybody. Figure out what you like DNA-wise and learn that. Don't try to learn it all because and focus on one thing. You'll make more money focusing on one line of DNA than trying to add 4 or 5 different things in at one time. You know, patterns, koi and all that, they're patterns. They're easy to get. But you got to know what colors you want to make and how you want to go with that. Pink, again, all over the place. We don't even know what colors we're going to get when we breed them together and have a pink. So, and flutels, yeah, they're still there.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, you better have some really, really good genes in a dog. But it is crazy. I don't know how we got here from contracts, but we got here.
That's
so,
what I told you. We wandered way off the...
right. But so
Contracts are important, in summary on that, since we moved on to the next segment here.
yeah, contracts are important, but you almost have to tailor them to your needs and what you feel is important to you and your customer. Because I've had customers that's got our contracts and be like, hey, I don't really like this section of the contract. Well, we can have a discussion and come up with something that works great for us.
That's what ChatGPT is great for,
You know, so when
by the way.
right, when you get a customer or if you send out a contract to a customer and they send back, oh, I don't like this part, don't be an asshole and say, well, that's too bad, then don't use it. Well, you just lost money. Have a legitimate conversation with your customer. Okay, well, what can we agree on that's okay for both of us and we can come out of this still feeling like we're both protected in this. So
Man, the danger of that is what that conversation we just had turned into. Instead of it being an outline, we started running down all these what ifs, and we just get like spread out. And like
Right.
I think when you open yourself up on that deal, man, like you get people that try to protect themselves, and you too, from every possible thing, and you just can't. At some point, you just got to trust the son of a bitch that he's
Right.
gonna do. And then if he don't, then you know you got to move on. But like,
okay, so that's what you need to draw out of your contract is that's the bare minimum that both of y'all are responsible for, and that y'all should be grown up enough and want to do good business on both sides. That if something in that contract goes awry, that y'all can come to an agreement that benefits both of y'all, that don't end up on social media and end up into a war. Me as a stud owner, I try to do everything I can to make sure the customer doesn't lose their stud money that they spent. A lot of people spent a ton of money on Flair stud fees when he first opened up. So whatever they need, I try to bend over backwards for them because you're talking about selling puppies for not buying a puppy for $8,000 or $10,000. I was selling stud fees for 10. I was selling dog semen for that. All they're getting is guaranteed that I'm going to send them some live semen. I feel like they should get great customer service out of that. And if that means I have to drive to their doorstep to do the breeding, that's what I have to do. So really, contracts boil down to customer service. Either way you look at it, you got to have great customer service.
The free market usually takes care of the bad seed. If you do bad business long enough, people just quit using you. It's not a rumor anymore; it becomes fact about you.
And that's what I hang my hat on. Do I have a couple people out there that are unhappy with me? Absolutely. You can't be successful and not piss somebody off along the way, because somebody's just going to feel like they didn't get it their way. So, but if all the other business you do is great, those one or two people don't matter. They just pop up and bitch and gripe about nothing. And then you have the ones that ain't never even done business with you that are pissed off because you're outdoing them.
No, it's because they can't afford you. That's what they're mad about.
They can't afford you, or you're out producing their 45 studs with one stud, and they just can't figure out how the hell you're doing it. So they just want to talk trash. Ignore it, move on, block and go. That's all you can do. So, but I guess that's all we got. We'll figure out somebody to bring on the show next to enlighten us in stuff that we don't like or might like or we need to change. But
we keep talking about it. We need to do it.
Right.
I know somebody on here Sunday or whatever.
I'm gonna be the special guest next show. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you gonna show up? Is that what
I'm gonna be a special guest. I'm gonna actually be in the building.
Come on.
You ain't going nowhere for a while. You got puppies.
Yeah, that is true.
And I'm over here just dreading it because I know in 2 months I got 2 litters coming. So I'm not.
I'm not doing 2 in 1. I couldn't do it, bro.
Oh, that ain't even it. I got one more female that I'm gonna end up having to breed. So I'm probably gonna end up with 3. So I don't know yet. I'm debating it. I don't even like the 2 I got. I mean, I like the breedings that I done, but I don't like the fact that I'm just gonna have to whelp 2 litters. I'm spoiled to doing stud services where 5 minutes I got them pulled, breeding done. We're out of here. I'm back on the couch watching TV or headed to the lake fishing, and now I got a whelp puppy. So, yay for me. So
yeah,
but yeah, we'll call it a day for now, and we'll see y'all. Y'all can hear us on the next episode. We'll find somebody interesting. We do have an episode coming up with
Amy Kerr.
With Amy.
Yeah, we talked about mostly English Bulldogs and them Chongqings.
Yeah, so we'll have that one. That'll be next week's. This one will be this week's, but we have her coming up. Her and Benny had a pretty good conversation. So other than that, and we'll update y'all on T-Rod's puppies and his adventures of whelping. So
yeah, what he needs to do is get some pictures, man.
Yeah.
Some good looking puppies.
Sure.
But all right, we will let it go till next time.
Y'all hold it down, man.
All right.
Welcome inside the kennel, the heartbeat of the dog gang, where real breeders break down real experiences, and the experts drop the knowledge you can't Google. We talking structure, bloodlines, nutrition, training, wins, losses, and everything that makes champions in and out of the ring. This is for the ones who live it, breathe it, and build it, one lit at a time. Your host, Kevin, Ben, and Terodrick. Lock in.